Hello everyone, welcome back to Abney Learning. Today's topic is letters of recommendation continued. If you didn't see our last video, we talked about the basics of letters of recommendation for medical school, why you need them, what's in them, and essentially what they are. So I would highly recommend that video if you haven't seen it already. But let's get started with this one by talking about when to ask for letters of recommendation. So a lot of pre-meds find themselves in a scramble during their senior year of college to get all their letters of recommendation in. They're super stressed, and this can easily be avoided with this simple tip, and I would suggest every single pre-med to follow this. So let me just get this blue color here, and I will start off by explaining that when you should ask is right after the semester that class is in. So for example, if you take a class in your second semester of sophomore year and you really think that you'd probably want that letter, ask right after you get that final grade in that class. And the reason for this is super straightforward and really makes a lot of sense. You may be thinking, oh my gosh, asking 2 years ahead of time for a letter is kind of odd, but really you've been building a rapport with that teacher that entire semester. You've probably been going to office hours, hopefully. You're fresh in their mind, they know your face, they know who you are as a student, and essentially at that point they have so much information about you that they could probably write the strongest letter possible. However, later, as we know, professors get new students every single semester. They kind of forget about their older students, so the longer you wait, the less they'll probably remember about you, and therefore you'll have a weaker letter. The second thing to keep in mind is that you're not just asking earlier on for yourself to make it easier, but you're actually going to make it easier for the professor themselves. So what I mean by this is that you're giving them time to do it. So you can go up to them and say, hey, I'm just asking now. I know it's really far ahead of time, but I know it's often difficult for teachers that have so many students to remember every student later on. And I've talked with other teachers and they've also found it easier to write it right after the semester ends. I don't really need the letter right away, but you could even just say, I think it would just be better before you get new students. It'd probably be easier for you as well. And I've said this to multiple professors and they've all been super receptive to it and super open, and they agree, because all professors know that they forget their students pretty quickly after. And by doing this, not only are you sort of getting them started with the letter right after the semester ends, but you're kind of setting a deadline without being super blunt about it. So if that teacher probably will finish that letter before the next semester ends, so you'll have it within a month or two, and it'll be safely stored away for medical school applications. So you really expedite the process by just making this simple statement. So this is super important. I would definitely say focus on this as the main thing about letters. In terms of how to ask, so definitely make it a private one-on-one conversation. This can be in office hours, this can even be after class, but just make it one-on-one. You don't really want other people to be there. But what I would definitely say not to do is do not ask over email. I would say this is sort of unprofessional. As adults, as college students, we should definitely be able to have a face-to-face conversation with professors about something that's pretty serious. And then the second thing that also can be seems really obvious, but it's just be straightforward. You can just, they already know you, they already know your face, what kind of student you are, so just go up to them, explain what year you're in, that you want to apply to med school. I'm going to be applying in X number of years from now. I really enjoyed this class. I felt like I did well in it, and I was wondering if you'd be able to write me a letter of recommendation. And then you could follow up by saying that I think you as my professor could really speak well on my behalf because of how much we've worked together. So just be honest, be straightforward, and they're already going to know what you're asking them in the first few sentences, so just be direct about it. That's my best advice. And then the last thing is what to bring. So this is something a lot of pre-meds don't really think about. They kind of just go to the teacher and ask, and that's kind of it. But I would say definitely you should think about bringing some supporting documents. So what do I mean by this? So one thing would be a resume. And you might be thinking, why would I bring my resume if they just are talking about me as a student? But there's so much more to you as a student than what they know about you in class and office hours. You could really give them a bigger picture of who you are by bringing in this resume, and it can add, and it can't really hurt in any way. The second thing is what I call the extra info document, and this is this infamous document that I talk about that's essentially specific things that you actually want them to include in the letter. And when I first heard this, I was like, oh, I don't want to be like coming off as super aggressive, that I'm telling them what to put in my letter of recommendation, like they're the professor, I'm the student. But really, they only know a limited amount of information about you, and this can really help beef up your letter and add a personal touch to it. And so just one example that I had was that I took a statistics class my sophomore year of college. I really enjoyed the class. I knew it was in my major, and I also really knew I wanted her to write one of my letters of recommendation. And so what I did was, on this extra info document, I wrote about how I had a research internship on the side in which I was doing statistical analysis, and I used a lot of the super interesting research like statistical techniques I learned in class in my research. There's no way she would have known that, and it's kind of awkward to just bring that up in office hours. So I wrote it on this piece of paper. I said, hey, I explained it. I said, there's more information on here if you want to read that in your time, and I think it'd be a great addition to the letter. You can even say, you can use this information, you don't have to use this information, but I just wanted to put this out there. And essentially what this is it's showing that you're super proactive, you're super involved, and you're essentially giving you a really good opportunity to give them material from the letter. You do not want to just be like, yeah, this person did well in my class. You're giving them all the tools to make this a great letter. And again, I've done this with several professors. They're super receptive to it, and at the end of the day, they can use it or they won't. Most people will not be mean about it at all. So thank you so much for watching this video. That concludes today's topic of letters of recommendation. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave any questions down below on anything that I've covered that you might have questions about. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.